Join us for a driving review of the all-new Mercedes S-Class. Let's go! So in the front you have a typical S-Class grille. Hasn't changed too much in the design actually, but it is actually a little bit wider than before. A typical Mercedes star on the top, and even though this is the AMG line, this will always remain like this. And this makes also the S-Class the vehicle which has the least difference from the normal version to the AMG line. The only difference is here a little stronger bumper, and the air intakes are a little bit more prominent here in this AMG line. So the color is called high-tech silver, and indeed the AMG line here for the S-Class. Then multi-beam LED lamps are standard. This option equipped with a so-called digital light that can actually project something on the road, like lines where your lane is when you don't see it that much at night, for example. So people from the outside will see that there's something, lighter, in that spot. From the driver's perspective, you then see like concise, maybe even signs could be projected on the road. Here the door handles are integrated, but here you can see they fold out and in. It depends on that way. It's more streamlined, just as for the air. Yeah, I don't know. You can also open or close it with the key. It is a fancy feature like this. Yeah, but I mean, classic door handles would also be just fine. Wheels come from 18 to 21 inch. 21 inch exclusively for the AMG line. This being the AMG line, but we have the 20-inch wheels, so this is somewhat still a compromise. Air suspension is standard, and you optionally can also get the E-ABC, that's this E-Active Body Control, so the car can also lean inside the corners. We talked about it in the Mercedes GLE or the GLS review, but it's not really a very necessary feature. Yeah, I mean, you can also just live with the normal air suspension. Then, typical design feature for the S-Class is this here, this C-pillar, which always has this very central form falling here, small and getting wider right there, and this has been kept over the recent generations. And also that here, the center of the wheel right here ends with the rear door. So these are two typical S-Class design elements which the designers also have kept for this very generation. One very important technology news is you now get rear access steering, and this would actually be a feature I would really go for, I would spend the money for. So far the competition goes like from the rear, from the rear wheels like 3 degrees or 5 degrees maximum. Here 10 degrees is possible that you turn in the opposite direction than the front wheels. This reduces the turning circle by 2 meters and makes the car so much more agile. A very fluent design here at the rear, almost looks like the ending of the raindrop. Tail lamps here very horizontally drawn, and you have this 3-dimensional structure on the inside. However, this one also looks quite like now when you think about an A-Class sedan or Mercedes CLA and so on, just definitely bigger. And also this, boat or yacht style that you have this part here, narrower than the lower part. Also typical S-Class design element, so it goes like this, like this. So very interesting also from this side perspective. Easier release now for the hood. When you release it from the inside, you can directly open it. And today we have here the S580, that's the 4-liter V8 bi-turbo. We'll have around 500 horsepower, so always with the mild hybrid system now for all petrol engines. It will also count for the inline 6-cylinder petrol engines, 3-liter, the S500 with 435 horsepower, or the S450 with 367 horsepower, plus the electric boost each. here. The seating looks very, voluminous. I always say it looks in the lower part like molten lava that fell over the seat. Animal skin is standard for this vehicle. This is an option here with these fabric cushions. They're really, really very nice and soft. However, you can also get an all-fabric seating for the S-Class. You just have to order it. It is possible also in all markets. Just ask for that if you want to go animal-free. However, I think, the pure fabric seats would, of course, be better for the climate comfort, so they stay cooler in summer and warmer in winter. But some customers might still want to go for the this sleek leather look, and then they also should offer, more sustainable alternative. After all, Mercedes claim, the official claim is now sustainable luxury. Not the case for these very seats. However, you sit, of course, very comfortable here and plush and soft. The fabric seat would be even a little bit softer. And then the steering wheel control here, electric, up and down, in and out. All new steering wheel here, so it's really, really compact, also for the size of the vehicle. 2 steering wheels are available. This is here the AMG steering wheel. You are available in AMG-Line and also in the true AMG model. The other one would have, like one button area here, left and right. This one here is split, looks therefore more sporty. Interior overview, it's actually quite good. It's a little cloudy and dark at the moment because here we can see the ambient lighting set to blue. Really nice here, upper part, lower part. Ambient lighting, that's something Mercedes really can do very, very well. The air vents here in the top part here in a horizontal way. Before that, or if you think about the GLE or GLS, they are bigger and placed right here. Here now in this top part then. Then you have 12.3-inch digital instruments on the left. Right side, this new 12.8-inch screen in a more vertical fit. This has aroused so many discussions. Soon going in depth on that. Start-stop engine button is right here. Overall, we see a good build quality, but here this, a lot of black piano like I'll use. This doesn't give me the best impression. Then you can also switch your views like this, or switch them completely, like here a navigation all over the place, like this, for example. Or you can also go to a so-called exclusive look, like this. Or maybe the sporty gauges, so everything of that is possible. And here you can also then set the augmented reality functions, for example. This is how the arrows will look like. These are all the head-up display options you have. Now the new head-up display, it's really far away, so you can very well see it in your line of sight, speed and so on, and loud speed. And when you then have also a GPS destination set, you will have these augmented reality functions here with the arrows. You can see them very well right there. So next turn will be right there. And also like individual small arrows. So one of these blue dots will be projected like where exactly is the next intersection where you need to go. You can also follow it on a camera while driving and so on. So this is a very, very helpful new feature, this augmented reality head-up display. Now to the rear area, of course, very important for the S-Class, this being the long wheelbase model, or as I said, the long wheelbase model is the standard model for US. You cannot get short wheelbase in US. In Germany, short wheelbase is more popular. Rear seat entertainment is also possible. It mirrors the stuff that is happening in the front, basically. But the question is if nowadays you rather just use your own smartphone or your own iPad and so on and so on. Inside of the doors look similar, just like in the front. And you also have these, the levers here for the windows, all 4. And you can also put these shades up here, like this. Or down again, like this, all electric. And then the normal seating position here. From this side, this would be behind the driver. Just you can see the legroom, and that's, don't even have to discuss the legroom here in the long wheelbase model. And again, of course, it's this typical luxury sedan seating position, rather land backwards a little bit. So sometimes people start to go for the SUVs to have a more upright seating position in the rear. So now I made myself a little bit more comfortable here. By the way, panoramic roof. This is split. You also have one for the rear, and this also belongs to this 3-dimensional, or in this case, maybe also 4D Burmester sound system. Here, this middle part here, you can fold up for some cubby hole. Again, the other version would be that you fold this entire thing up and then can still sit here as a third adult. Also, a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4 USB-C chargers and 2 HDMI, but also inductive charging possible. And then you have some cubby holes right here in the top part and also in the lower part. Yeah, in the Maybach would be rather than for Champagne. And here in the rear seating, again, I mean, the normal position here is already pretty cool. And then you also see one button here again at the inside of the doors. You also have this extended function here for this, lying seating position rather. With 1m86 or 6'1", it's really close. It fits when I have my shoes off, but then I, already hit the seat, of course. So I would say like for 1m80 and 6 foot, that's ideal. I am already maybe a little bit too tall for this function. But still, I mean, talking on a high level or high niveau, the trunk area is 550 liters or 14 cubic feet. And here we go. On the left side here, a lot of sound equipment. So not the most square dimensions considering the size of the vehicle. That's still high enough. You see here a backpack fits in easily. Underneath, you have some more storage right there. Interesting cable collection there. And then you can see here there's also the ski hatch that you can load things through. So that would also be possible. The height here of the trunk is 55 centimeters, a little bit more. That's actually okay. Then here the width, this is the actual problem. So this is a meter, and see here it's actually shorter or narrower. Here this is about just 80 centimeters. And the normal length of the trunk then here about 1 meters and 17. Welcome guys to the S-Class driving review in this new generation. Impressive camera image right here, then augmented reality on the camera screen, and I see the same also in the head-up display. Thanks, Jonas. So this is also this new augmented reality head-up display. It's really hard to pick it on camera while driving, but it, the image you see here on that screen, that's actually what I also see in the head-up display, and that's of course really, really impressive. It is more far away than anything else we have seen so far, and I have, wow, this is really cool. So like this blue arrow was basically moving then towards the traffic light, and you could really follow it here in that display. That is really, really interesting. Just deactivate the turning indicator for a second. And this is also one of the major things first here about the new S-Class. Of course, it was well insulated before, but I told you in the exterior part. So they have this new mechanism that, while doing the chassis, they already apply some foam that then extends during the next process and fills up the gaps, that so there's nothing which could create like a disturbing sound. And being here, like it's a little bit rainy outside, trucks passing us, there are planes passing over us, we hear absolutely nothing. It's so super silent in here, and even standing still is then some kind of a joy. Wow, I really feel the rear axle steering as well. So the rear axle steering, talked about it earlier as well, with this maximum of 10 degrees in the opposite direction. This really fakes a shorter wheelbase, so the car feels as it would be a little bit shorter, and this really helps steering around this, especially the long wheelbase version, which is then the standard version for the US. And I can really say this augmented reality head-up display is already one of my favorite features, because so far, the augmented reality function here on the screen has always been nice, and you can see it right here once again. But here, having it on the head-up display, you can so much more just concentrate on the road, and you don't have to check the map or something. Here once again, I don't have to look down in the instruments in the map. I don't have to look down here to the map. I can just rely on the arrows, and they really show me where's the next intersection, especially here, like, we're going like this, like a circle, and so many directions we could possibly go. That's really, really well done. Driving the 580, the V8. We already drove that one too in the GLS, Mercedes GLS, so we know the basic engine. Here final specs as we talk are not ready yet for the S-Class, so around 500 horsepower, around 500 horsepower here for the S-Class, and so a little bit more than in the GLS, also with the MHEV system right here. But although it's mild hybrid system, of course, it won't be the one that is, most economic. Driving it now on the motorway, and the air suspension is doing a phenomenal job. It is giving you this carpet feeling, so a very soft ride. We know and expect that from the S-Class. Blind spot monitor is active here at the side mirrors. When I hit the turning indicator, we also get an acoustic warning and the flashing as well. And we can set the cruise control here on the steering wheel. With these capacitive buttons here now, it's a little bit harder, the feedback you get. So before, when you had the real physical buttons, that was definitely easier to experience, And here the distance to the car in front of us is also being kept. Of course, at any time I can also just accelerate myself. I want it to be a little bit faster like this here. And the V8 is giving you a little subtle growling sound, and of course really good in the performance and very, very quick. Change steering wheel seat position until 6 dots available on the upper edge of. Not sure what the car is wanting now, but that's also something. So there appears a message, and I'm not really sure what the car wants from me. But I think that's also this scheme of at which point something is over-engineered because you're driving a car, and then even as an experienced car reviewer, sometimes you don't really know what the car is wants actually. It's something with the head-up display, because there's a green dot moving now, but these things can really happen in such a vehicle that you get some irritations. Then the lane keeping assist is really subtle, so we're being in the center of the lane here all the time, and even if I would take my hands off the steering wheel, which at the moment is not allowed in this vehicle, level 3 autonomous driving that you can actually temporarily put off the hands of the steering wheel is or will be allowed. Germany first, mid-2021, and level 3 is then really a situation where the car is completely responsible in a certain limit, in some situations, and you can already buy an S-Class that is able to do that. This version here not, but you can actually already get one of that. Pretty impressive too. So once again, it's just such a flawless ride. The soft air suspension, the great noise insulation, probably the best noise insulation there is on the market overall. And then again, some of these nice technology features, again, the head-up display is really, really helpful. So you actually don't even have to read the map anymore to really see what you're doing. This may be also helpful then for the passenger also. And I really have the feeling that I have to be more silent intentionally, so I'm not too loud while speaking, in this driving moderation. So that's how silent the car is. Yet again, we are, a very powerful engine under the hood, but most of the time when you have high displacement, you sometimes also just think, whatever, we can drive it at low RPM. This also gives you more like, sovereign feeling on the road. If you want a little bit sportier, let's do lane change right here. So even though when I'm driving it a little bit sportier, let's go back, you feel that the suspension is really soft, and that's really good. However, it's not that it would be leaning too much or so. Here now we're driving a little bit faster, and this is wow. I mean, it's a soft air suspension, it's a heavy car, but still the car feels really precise. The steering has a good natural feeling, very, very stably, and that was actually quite fast here for that corner. So now we accelerate out on the motorway. Unfortunately, you cannot see the speed. We tried everything actually, and it's just in the top part here, but it's blocked by the steering wheel. And let me just drop back to 80 kilometers an hour and accelerate to 100. Let's see, and let's go. Plop, that's it. There, I was already at 110, so I have to reduce the speed again. Nice sound from this V8 engine. And we already experienced that in the GLS, that it gives you really serious performance. Fuel economy won't be the best. Told you that earlier. I think you just have to live with that. Or this engine will also be available as a plug-in hybrid, 580e. That could be a possibility. Or then go with the inline 6-cylinder petrol, or even then the diesel engine, depending on the mileage you're doing. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new Mercedes S-Class. Exterior-wise, definitely more an evolution, so not the biggest change, but of course here and there. Today also with the AMG-Line, overall a very sleek and elegant design, and so far the feedback was very good. Interior, definitely more a revolutionary change, especially as for the infotainment with this vertical orientation, and of course everything more digitalized. The voice input is actually very good. It's the second best one on the market, just right after the Android Automotive system that is firstly used in the Polestar 2. Then the build quality is actually quite nice, but then a lot of use of black piano lacquer. That's maybe something that's lacking in quality, or just they're like prone to scratches and so on and so on. As for the part of over-engineering, there are a lot of new, very cool technology features. However, the user input in the interior is worse than before. So when you reduce buttons, it maybe looks cool, but it's not better for the customer to use it. So I had more problems using this system here than with the previous generation, especially on the steering with the capacitive buttons. The real ones before were easier to use, and also on the central infotainment, or having like a real climate unit, is still better. And so far, all the feedback we have had here in our YouTube comments were always like this. So why are manufacturers doing that? At some points also cost savings, because every single small element is more cost intensive than just putting everything into one screen. It's also one of the reasons why Tesla started to put everything just in the screen, and that's it. And then you can also update it later on. The advantage is, I just told you, you can also you can update other features later on a little bit easier. Very comfortable, of course, on the interior, as we expect from the S-Class. The sound system is really superb. What a pleasant experience. Nice that it's also offered with an all-fabric interior. However, it's not advertised that much, even though it would even give you more comfort, at least we tell you. They should, however, still also offer some animal skin alternatives as a high-grade leatherette. We've seen it in concept cars Mercedes is offering, and we've seen it also across the model range, where this Artico or MB-Tex, as the brands are called, are meanwhile at the very, very high level. And here, for example, they could also say we offer an even higher level. BMW shows it with the new 5 Series with the Centertech seats right there. This being the long wheelbase model, you also have a lot of space on the rear. The trunk capacity is a little bit disappointing for a car of that size, but then again also not the main use of this car. As for driving, even more silent than before. I think I can easily claim the most silent car on the market as for the interior noise insulation. Also with this new cool process that they start with the insulation foam really at the raw chassis, very impressive. Good safety technologies, well-working assistance systems, and so on. And the most impressive technology higher driving-wise, the new rear axle steering, which really makes the car so easy to maneuver, although it has a long wheelbase, and also very agile still, although we have this, carpet air ride. So very comfortable, of course, in the riding. Also one of the most comfortable cars as for the suspension on the market. So once again, it is probably one of the most impressive cars at all. Even more so here in this new generation, with the little bit lacking of the more complicated user interface. That's my verdict for today, but a very interesting ride for sure. Tell me your opinion about the all-new Mercedes S-Class. See you in the comments, and also tune in next time.